Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Overwatch Database, and today we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to do a top 10 video, and today we're going to rank the top 10 rookies of the Overwatch League season so far for 2021. We're looking to do a lot more of these in the future, so if you like this video, make sure to comment down below. Don't take this too seriously, this is just our own opinions, but we definitely want to hear from you guys if you'd like to see more of these in the future. So getting right into it, number 10, Mag. So Mag is a person who we almost didn't put in our list, but I feel like he's been improving as the year's been going on. We saw right at the end of the Summer Showdown, I thought specifically his Reinhardt was looking a lot better. He's shown an ability to play Winston as well as other heroes. So I think all in all, Mag is a person who has, at the beginning of the year for the Justice, I think struggled a little bit, and he's gotten better as the year's gone on. And I also think he has a really good roster around him. So I think overall for him, he hasn't lived up to the huge expectations I think a lot of us had for him coming into the season, but he has a player who's gotten steadily better as the season has progressed. And I would really look for him in Stage 4. None of the main tanks were banned when they did the hero pool for Stage 4, so I'd really look for him to shine and continue to improve. Number 9, Aspire. We included some people off this list who hadn't played like significant portions of the season. But Aspire has just been, I feel like, so good. We just had to put him in here.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there are people in here that have not had much playtime. That's why they're a little bit lower. But what they've shown in that little amount of playtime they've had has been enough to actually include them in this list.
Yeah, I think for Aspire, when he came in for the Toronto Defiant, there weren't a lot of expectations, and he came in and just pounded. His McCree looked awesome. His hit scan looked awesome. His Ashe and Widow are phenomenal.
His Ashe is absolutely amazing. Oh my god.
Yes, it's so good, and especially really what I liked seeing also in the season that we've seen from him is his Tracer. His Tracer's been really, really good too. I think it's been really solid, and that was another thing I didn't actually know he even played, and he pulled that out recently in their games and looked really good on it. And so it was too much that even despite that he's only, played a portion of the season, it was still enough that we just couldn't leave him off the list. Getting into number 8, Jengu for the Houston Outlaws. So Jengu, it's kind of weird when it's another guy who we haven't seen play the entire season. I mean, he didn't really basically play Stage 2 at all because Reinhardt was banned, so they picked up Dreamer, and he played a pretty significant portion of the stage, I think, or pretty much all of it. Played a lot of Winston for them. I believe he played Orisa.
Yeah, he did play Orisa. There were a couple times in the previous stages where he actually came out and did that with the whole questionable comp thing, but he did play Orisa there as well because Vaughn was banned.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little weird because I actually thought Jingu could play Orisa originally. But all in all, when he has played, he's looked really solid. I mean, you go back to Stage 1 when he literally MTD'd Super in the first match of the season. I mean, that was incredible. And sure, he hasn't had those peaks, but he's still been really consistent. I think, he's shown an ability to play a wide variety of different main tanks. I mean, he can even play Winston. They just brought in Dreamer specifically to do it for that stage. But I think going forward in Stage 4, it looks like we might have like Wrecking Ball comps, Wrecking Ball Zen comps be pretty prominent. And I know he can play Wrecking Ball, so I'm really excited to see if Houston decides to go that route and put him on that and kind of see what he can do there. Coming in at number 7, we have Flora. So I know, Connor, you probably don't have much to say on this because you haven't, you don't watch a lot of APAC games, but Flora has actually been really good for the NYXL. I think New York would not be where they are without him, and they're still only 5-7, so I'm not saying like they're a really great team, but I think he specifically has been a really good pickup for them this year. His hit scan is exceptionally good. He can play Ashe, Widow, McCree. He's shown an ability to play Sombra, Tracer. He's just shown a lot of flexibility, and even though we have seen like Wangbung and stuff recently, I think Flora was a super awesome pickup by New York and has really, shown a lot in the rookie season. I think that he's not getting as much recognition as he should because he's on a fairly bad New York team. But I think if we saw him on like a top team this year, people would be talking about him a lot more. I don't think he's like rookie of the year conversation, but I think he's been really, really solid, like the next step down from that. So I'm really excited to see him the rest of the season and, moving forward, if New York improves next year or he goes to a better team, I think this guy can really stand out. Number 6, we have Khan for the Paris Eternal. A lot of the hype coming into the beginning of the year for Paris was their main tank, Dawn, and he's been good, but it's actually been Khan, I think, who has impressed me the most on this team, which is saying a lot because the whole team has been impressive. I think coming into the year, the DPS line of Onigod and Naga, I don't think we expected to be as good as it has been. And Don's been good. Don't get me wrong at main tank. He's been really solid. But I think that Khan has just, stood out the most to me. He does have some moments where his positioning is super questionable, and he's clearly out of position. I've seen it, a few times on Baptiste and stuff. But overall, I think that he's been an exceptional pickup for this team. He doesn't have the largest hero pool. I think other than Bap, I think we've really only seen him play maybe Ana this year. I can't remember if he's played any Zen. I think he can play Zen, but I don't remember if we've seen him play it. But it will be really interesting because, again, in Stage 4, we think we're probably going to be seeing more like Wrecking Balls and Zenyatta comps. And Dawn can play Wrecking Ball and Khan can play Zenyatta. So I think that'll be really exciting. And I think Paris is going to be one of the top teams in Stage 4, to be honest. Getting into the top 5, coming in at 5th place, we have Monk for the Chengdu Hunters. This is a little bit recency bias, I'll be honest, just because of how much he just absolutely pounded in the Summer Showdown tournament in Hawaii. But, I mean, the guy is an absolute freak on Zenyatta. I mean, you saw him taking people's heads off from across the map, and then there was multiple times where he was literally frontlining Zenyatta, and it was unreal. And yeah, it probably cost them a few times. There's, a few times he was egregiously out of position, but overall, I mean, he's just a freak. He's a freak on Zenyatta. It was crazy. And we've seen his Ana, which has also been really, really good, as well as his Baptiste. And so the guy is really, well-rounded on those 3 heroes. So I think for me, he's been arguably one of the most surprising rookies of the season. I mean, Nisha has been really good for them too, and he could have just as easily made this top 10 list. But I think Monk, especially as of late, has just been really standing out to me. Now, to follow up Monk, his main tank counterpart for the Chengdu Hunters, Gaga, comes in at number 4 on our list. This guy, we had expectations for coming into the year, and he has lived up to them. I mean, I think most impressive to me is I knew his Wrecking Ball was going to be fantastic, and it has been. It's been really, really good. But I did not realize how good his Reinhardt was, some of his other stuff. His Rein is really good. I'm not as big of a fan of his Winston. I think it's fine. I don't think it's, bad. He's not going to lose you a game. But I don't think it's as strong as his other heroes. And then his Orisa is really good too. So I was really surprised how good he is on all these heroes. He can pretty much play anything for any meta that you need on main tank. And it's really impressive. I think that he's been a really nice addition to the Overwatch League and the Chengdu Hunters this year. And it's another guy we're just, really excited about. And I think this is kind of where we're getting the point of these last 4 people are firm Rookie of the Year finalists. And I feel like he certainly has to be one. Getting into the top 3, we have Shy for the Hangzhou Spark. A lot of people would probably have him 1 or 2, and I think he's totally deserving. Again, like we said at the beginning, this list is just our opinion. It's for fun. Don't take it too seriously. I think Shy is great. 1, he didn't really play at all Stage 1, so I kind of docked him a little bit for that. It's not his fault. Kind of like we did Aspire. We put him, kind of towards the bottom just because of, he hasn't played the whole season. And it's not his fault. That was, Hangzhou's coaching decisions. And, when he's played, he's been fantastic. Obviously, his hit scan is just absolutely phenomenal. On any given night, playing the Ashe or Widow or McCree, if he's having an on night at any given time, he's the best hit scan in the league. I really think at times he is. I think that he's kind of disappeared in big moments for me, and that's kind of part of why I put him 3rd. I know he's been really good. I think back for me at least, it was that matchup against New York, I believe in Stage 2, where they could have gone to knockouts and they lost. And it just kind of felt like he had a fine game, but he didn't play as well as he had been. And then I felt like last stage he played really well, and then kind of as we got closer to knockouts and whatnot, he didn't play quite as good. So I kind of feel like that's been a thing I've noticed. But I think overall he has been really good. He definitely firmly deserves to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation. And you can make an argument for him for number 1. I just think the 2 people we have in front of him have just been really good. Coming in at number 2, Piggy for the Houston Outlaws. I think he has been the biggest surprise for me. Coming in the year, a lot of people were, going off of scrims and rumors and stuff about who was going to be good, who wasn't. And Piggy and Jengu were a tank line that a lot of people had heard bad things about. We coming in, we didn't have very high expectations for the team, honestly too, but really for the tank line as well. And Piggy has been so good. I really, actually, to me, he's 2nd place in, if I was going to vote for Rookie of the Year, he would be my 2nd option. And I think it just comes down to consistency. His Sigma is phenomenal. I mean, it is phenomenal. He's just really, really, really good on it. I think it will hurt him being that Sigma has now been announced as, banned in the Countdown Cup, so he won't get to play that, which is definitely his best hero. But when he's able to play it, he's one of the best Sigmas in the entire league. I think his Zarya, we haven't seen it much, is good. And his diva is really, really good as well. And I think just his diva and Sigma are just so good. Sure, he doesn't have a super huge hero pool, but I think those two are just so good. It makes up, for it. And also just we didn't have very high expectations, I don't think, coming in for him.
Right, I can agree with that. Like the hero pool he has is not big, but the thing is he plays like the top off tanks basically. So as long as you have another good off tank or a good main tank to go with him. So if you have Jengu or Dreamer, backing him up, they're going to basically be unstoppable. I mean, we saw that, during stage 2 especially. And honestly, I definitely think that he should actually be in the second place. Great work coming in. Great tank. Like you said, his Sigma and Diva are amazing. I would like to see his Zarya more. To see,
Yes.
how good a combo you can have with, a Rhine there. And who knows, that could even be better than we think it could be because we haven't seen much at all. So maybe if he brings it in, we'll be like, okay, now we can officially judge this in a way. But
And we might see it more in the next stage. We don't really know what the meta
exactly.
is like
Yeah,
at
we
all.
don't know. It's gonna be mixed up. You have what, one tank, one support, two DPS band. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I just think overall he's just been incredibly consistent, and that goes a long way in my book. Before we talk about number one, a couple shout outs, honorable mentions, if you will, that we almost put in our top 10 but didn't. Our first three that didn't make the cut. So we had Nisha for the Chengdu Hunters, who I said, when I was talking about Monk, could have very well been on this list. I think he's been really, really good, especially on the Mercy role for Chengdu, and you could definitely, put him on the list. For me, just some of these other guys were just a little bit better, but I think he's been really solid. Choi Sawan for the Guangzhou Charge, another guy who has not really been getting any hype because Guangzhou is so bad, but he's been a really big bright spot for this team. Coming in the first week of the season, he was just pounding on Tracer, just caught everybody off guard, and he's been really, really good. And then our final honorable mention is Muse, the main tank for the LA Gladiators. He's been pretty solid, I think, for the most part, but he's had some struggles. A lot of inconsistencies, which I think maybe is more to do to coaching. But for the most part, he's been really good. I just don't think he's quite lived up to the high expectations we had for him coming out of contenders. But he's still been a pretty solid pickup. So those are the players that didn't quite make the cut, but still I felt like deserved shoutouts and have been really good. So number one, you probably can guess it by now since you haven't heard his name yet, but Pelican for the Atlanta Reign. I just think back to when this guy was just during stage 2, just pounding on Echo. I mean, I think he was the best Echo in the entire league in that stage. And that's saying a lot. There was a lot of really good Echo players, but the guy was unstoppable. He was just slapping teams like the Shock around with it and stuff. And it was really remarkable. And it's not just the Echo to me that puts him number one. It's also his, flexibility. We've seen him play very competently Mei, Hanzo. He's played Genji. He can play Sombra. He has a really big hero pool. We've seen him play so many heroes, and he plays them at such a high level. I don't think I kind of want to compare him to almost Prophet. I don't think that's really a fair comparison because maybe Prophet's one of the greatest players of all time. But in the sense that he picks up a hero we didn't know he could play, and he's so good at it. He just seems like he's been playing it his whole career, and that's very rare for players to have. Not only be the one of the best in the entire league at a hero, but multiple heroes, and that's what it's really seemed like from him. I would say that most everybody we've seen him play this year, he's elite at very top level, and that's really impressive, especially for a rookie. Granted, Atlanta's a pretty decent team, but I think there's a lot of games that they just win because Pelican just pops off. They win a lot of games just because of him.
Honestly, Pelican's Echo, like you mentioned, absolutely amazing. He plays such a great Echo. I really wish I could learn how to play Echo like that. Definitely takes the cake on this top 10, and I would love to see what he does in the future for the Reign.
Yeah, and like I just said, it's not even just the Echo. I think Ismay and Hanzo and Sombra and all that stuff's just been really, really good. He just picks up something and plays it, and I think that it doesn't really matter the meta. They'll find something for him to play, in stage 4, and they'll make it work. That is kind of the reasoning for putting Pelican number one is, he's got the consistency factor, he's got the star power, he's got such a wide range of heroes, and he can play them all so good. So he's just kind of really has a little bit of everything. So I don't know how you feel about it, Connor, but for me, kind of recapping like what we got here and looking at it, I feel like as far as Rookie of the Year goes, it's really between the top four for me. I would say Gaga, Shy, Piggy, and Pelican.
Yeah, I would actually have to agree with that. When we first created this list, I thought that Aspire and Jengu should be higher, along with Mag as well. But you did bring up a good point about the whole play time of how much they've actually been in games and, we've seen of them.
So yeah, that is our top 10. Let us know in the comments if you guys, disagree. Let us know your own top 10, how you would rank them. We'd love to see that. Again, it's just, our opinion. Don't take it too seriously. It's just for fun. You can also like the video if you enjoyed it, and you can also hit the bell icon to subscribe and get notifications. As always, you can check this out on Apple Podcasts as well as on our website, overwatchdatabase.com. The link for that is down in the description. And we will see you later this week for our Countdown Cup Week 1 predictions. Until next time, thanks for watching.